Celebrating 4 years of talk like you've never heard it before, this is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard the GabNet Tour bus. Today our tour will take us up and around the newly designed GabNet.net webpage. For your safety, please stay seated while the bus is in motion and enjoy your trip. Also, remember that tipping your tour guide is greatly appreciated. Okay, we're off. The first place of interest that we're going to pass on the top left, you'll see a rotating billboard of all of the great GabNet programs. Legend has it that legendary broadcaster Alex Bennett created this billboard to attract early visitors to GabNet and to lure them into his site. To this day, it's one of the top attractions on our tour. Up next, look over at the top right and you'll see the most recent video of Alex Bennett's Ramble. And if you're lucky enough, we'll see Alex interacting with the citizen panel. Always a tour highlight. Did I mention that tipping your tour guide is greatly appreciated? As we approach the bottom of the Ramble video, we see quick links to all the ways that you can connect with GabNet programs. Facebook Live, YouTube, TuneIn, Livestream, Vimeo, and the GabNet Roku channel. They're all additional stops that you can make if you choose to step off the bus. But remember, please tip your tour guide if you do, and then you can hop on the next bus. Here's another highlight on our tour. On the left side, you'll see GabNet On Demand. You can quickly access any of the most recent programs there. Clearly, a value spot on our tour because downloads are at no extra cost. Please give your attention now to the right side. Look at the complete tutorial on how easy it is to become a citizen panelist. By the way, if you're a Luddite, there's a phone number that you can use to dial in. Okay, we're nearing the halfway point on our trip. I certainly hope that you're enjoying it. Oh, look, there's the convenient call Skype button that you can click on, which will automatically connect you to the citizen panel. So now we're turning down the center of the page. I don't want you to miss any of these attractions, so please pay attention. Up first is a link to the 24/7 feed. Now these are going to come fast and furious, so pay attention. Next is a quick note on how you can hear GabNet on Amazon Echo. Next, quickly coming behind that, and this is always exciting, a screen that shows Alex Bennett's Ramble when it is live, with a countdown to the next show. It's always fun when we pass and the show is live. We're winding down our tour of GabNet.net, but before we reach our final stop, it's important to note that there is a place for you to contact them with your comments. Let them know how you like GabNet.net and the GabNet programming. And with that, we wrap up our tour. Remember, as you step off the bus, to please be careful. And also remember that GabNet is talk like you've never heard or seen it before. Did I mention, please tip your tour guide?
You love GabNet. You love the hosts and the citizen panels. In fact, you wish you could take them wherever you go. On your computer, log on to GabNet.net, where our stream is available around the clock. On your TV, GabNet is available on Roku with the same around-the-clock stream, plus all the latest episodes of GabNet programs, old favorites, videos, and tons of celebrity interviews. When you're mobile, we're on your iPhone or iPad with podcasts accessible via iTunes or Stitcher, and that same around-the-clock stream on TuneIn. If you don't want GabNet wherever you go, well, the hell with you. Go ahead, listen to your old-fashioned talk shows that do things in the same old predictable way. Meanwhile, the rest of us will be having fun listening to talk like you've never heard it before on GabNet. Celebrating 4 years of talk like you've never heard it before, this is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network.
Hello, everybody. How are you? Wait a minute. Hold on a second. I want to get this shirt off. It's too hot in here for the shirt tonight. So I'll just go here with this stretched out T-shirt. Okay, all right. You can, if you're watching us, if you're listening to us, well, you don't have to even deal with it. Okay, so that's all that matters. Anyway, hi. How are you? Let's see. You got me for the next 25 minutes. Yeah. I don't have anything to say, and I don't have any guests to put on, so here I am. Let me say that this is kind of like you remember you used to have a store on the corner. It was run by a family, a little family operation. That's what this is. This is a little family operation. I'm everything. Okay, I am a host of a show, not the only show, because we've got Damien who does a great show before we go on. Sets the table very nicely for me. And then right after me, as a great follow-up to this program, is The Intersection with Jack Bishop. And then at 1 o'clock in the morning, a bunch of people I've never met before in my entire life, but they do a really fun show called Connections, which if you haven't listened to it, it comes out of Florida, and there are a bunch of people just having a lot of fun together, and I like them. They're nice people, and their show is a lot of fun to listen to, and you should give it a listen to, either on replay or if you stay up until 1 o'clock in the morning on the East Coast of the United States, you can hear them. Otherwise, hey, 10 o'clock isn't too late to start listening to Connections, but they're on. And then, of course, we've got the Arena, which is our sports show once a week, which I wish were on every night, and then he could kind of get a following, because it's a great little sports show, and he knows his business, okay? So anyway, so I got this, I've got this little network, but I have to do everything. I post the shows so they get in the on-demand and on iTunes, and so they can be used for any one of a number of other purposes. And when something breaks, I've got to fix it. And yesterday, I'll tell you, it was just an absolute disaster of a day for stuff. It seems, I don't know about you, if you ever realized it, but when things break, they all break at the same time. It's like there are days I'm afraid to touch anything electronic, because I know if I touch it, there's something in my body that's fucking them up. So while Jack's on, sometimes I like to just unwind, and I go into what we call the guest room, and I turn on some show or something to watch that I've recorded, and just sit there and watch it for a couple of minutes. I listen to Jack's show too for about a half hour. But I need some time to unwind. And all of a sudden last night, the sound is cutting in and out on the TV set. And I'm going, what the hell is wrong here? And then it's completely gone. It's screwed up. And then I'm trying to figure out, well, what the hell is it? So I bring in I have one of these little sound bars. So I had another sound bar in here, and I took that sound bar and hooked it in, and the sound was coming through. So then I hooked it back into the old sound bar, and this old sound bar was finally working again without breaking up, and then it started breaking up. So I then changed optical cords, and everything was fine. But in the middle of all of this, right, I get a call from Jack, and Jack's having trouble. Let me explain to you, we have a system here where we have a thing called, what used to be Log Me In, but now it's, what is it, Remote PC it's called. And what happens is they can then come on, use the control, come onto the server that I have here, place their program in the playlist, put their program in a folder, and then after the show's over, I can do things with it like post it and so on. But they need to get on there, and they also need to get on there like Damien to turn off the encoder so that his program can go on. Well, last night, Damien had some problems getting on. I figured, maybe that was just a little problem he was having that was indigenous to him, okay? Then I get this call from Jack. I can't get on. So now I'm trying to see how I can get on, and I use my Mac and I try to get onto it, and it's fine. And we're trying to so all of this stuff, when it goes wrong, is troubleshooting. What you're trying to do is eliminate what is wrong, what isn't wrong, and find out exactly what is. And finally, I said, "Well, you're using a PC, right?" I said, "So let me try to get on with my PC." And sure enough, it wouldn't allow me to type in what we call a keyword, which allows them to get on. So now it's going to be 2 o'clock in the morning. Okay, and I hear from I then get a hold of Remote PC through their chat, and they try to guide me through something, and they finally say, "Well, just write us a letter and tell us what's wrong." So I don't know. I can't figure it out. So I go and I change the password to a very simple, like 5-letter password, and it seems I can then get on with the PC. I get up this morning, and on all my machines is a little note. You have to update your remote PC. Oh, well, thank you very much for telling me. I knew there was something wrong, and apparently there was something wrong. Boy, when I do that, you can see my little roll there, can't you? I was scratching my back because I got this horrible back itch here. It's been going on for years. Dry skin. Anyway, where are we? So I'm thinking to myself, gee, now, did they correct this problem because I wrote them a letter and they found out about it, or tons of people wrote them letters and found out about it? But they may have well changed their program that they were using earlier on and just didn't tell anybody. Anyway, the system now works, but getting everybody back up to speed has taken up the better part of my day, whether it was getting Jack to get going on it, and Damien was just having a few problems and we had to have him reboot his machine. But I think, is it working now? Let me look and see here. What do you know? Yes, it worked for Damien. Thank you, Damien. It seemed to work for Damien. He dumped his program in over there, and it's all ready to go. So, I mean, all I'm saying is that these are the kind of things I have to put up with. Okay, it's either one thing or another. It's either my TV set is breaking up on me, and then at the same time, the system is breaking down, and I got to figure that one out. And you know what happens when things go wrong, and I know you probably have exactly the same problem. Whenever something technical isn't working, like, I don't know, you can't get onto your Google account or something like that, the first one you blame is yourself. Oh, I must be doing something wrong. When the fact of the matter is that in most cases, it's not you, it's them. But you are so absolutely in awe of this wonderful electronic gizmos that you have that it's got to be your fault. It's something you're not doing. I know Jack, because he doesn't consider himself, he actually hates technology, okay? And I don't blame him. I'm getting to hate it too. But Jack always blames himself first. Oh, I did something wrong. And then I go to him, no, you didn't do anything wrong. There's something else here that's going wacko. But I always blame myself. I know you out there, when you have something go wrong with your computer, oh, it's got to be something I'm doing. And it's not something you're doing. But I just wish companies would be a little more forthcoming. I mean, I like this PC remote, or remote PC. It's a great program. If you need one, you need a way to get onto some other computer on a constant basis, like you're at work and you want to get onto your computer at home. It costs $6.95 for the first year, $69.95 for every year after that. And that's as cheap as you're going to find it anywhere in the business. Log Me In, which we were using, the reason I went to this, was trying to charge me all of a sudden $350 a year. And that was a little too rich for my blood and for what we needed. And I found this company, and they're a good little company. I mean, the product is excellent. Damien even said it works smoother, it works faster than Log Me In works, and in many ways, for what we need it for, it doesn't have every bell and whistle that, say, Log Me In has, but we don't need those bells and whistles, and it works faster and better and more transparently than but what they didn't do in this case is they may have changed the program and not told anybody till this morning, or they may have changed the program and not felt they needed to tell anybody, or the way in which they did stuff. But it wasn't until this morning, after people like me went, oh, it's my fault, it's got to be something I'm doing, right, that all of a sudden it was them. And there was a little note saying, just click here and download the whole version. But then you had to reboot, and you had to do a bunch of things. But in any event, that's what I had to go through last night. And when I go through that, and now it's getting to be 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to go hit my head, put my head on the pillow, and do you think I'm going to be able to fall asleep? No. So then I got to take a Xanax, boom, to put me to sleep, because I'm just so keyed up from all this stuff. And I got it all solved. I figured I got it pretty much all solved. And yet I was just, so I had to take a pill to get to sleep. And then I woke up early. Then so you say to yourself, please, dear God, although I don't believe in a God, but dear God, please give me some good news. And then you turn on the news and you're not going to find it there because everybody's mad at everybody else and everybody's being mean to everybody else, and it's not fun, okay? So all of a sudden I'm searching around, and I should have been listening to Damien last night, but I was doing something else before his show went on that was occupying my time. I was probably trying to fix something, but I went to but Damien mentioned this last night. I didn't hear it, but I was looking around the web. We've been having this problem lately that Skype, which is owned by Microsoft, suddenly has decided that as of September 1st, they're going to change what they're doing and how they're doing it, okay? And that they have a whole new program called Skype 8, and if you have Skype 7, which is what we're using on this program, it's no longer going to work after September 1st. And I've been working my ass off for the last week playing with the new version of Skype, trying to make it work with this show. And quite frankly, it would impact the visual quality of the show. It would impact the way in which we do a citizen panel. As an example, I'll just give you a brief little example. I don't want to bore you with this, so I'm going to give you an example so you understand it fully. What we do when we have, like last night, we had 10 people on at one time. Well, how do you become a traffic cop for that many people? What we do is when somebody wants to talk, we tell them to raise their hand, and then I will recognize them. And so I need a visual picture of everybody that's there, that's on the that's on the show, and be able to see them, so I see the hands raising. Well, the trouble with the new Skype is you can only have 4 people's picture on the screen at the same time. Otherwise they're in little bubbles at the top of the screen. Okay, well, I guess I have to watch the bubbles. But then when one of them wants to talk, and they're not one of the 4 people that's there, you have to take that bubble and pull it down, I guess, over somebody who hasn't been saying much. So that means more work for me rather than sitting here and just having a fun little discussion with people and not having to worry that much about the quality of the video and what's happening. And they said on September 1st, that's it. It's Microsoft being a dick. You're going to have to go to Skype 8. Okay? Skype, what they call classic Skype, will no longer work. So I have been fretting over this because as the clock is ticking down here now today, it's the 9th, you know, that gives me about 21 days to get up to speed and hope that everything is working right. And today I come across an item, and I should have been listening to Damien. Damn me, I'm such an asshole for not and I do listen to Damien's show, by the way. Yes, I'm listening, Damien. Don't I listen to what you say about me. And, no, I'm just kidding. I should have been listening to him. Skype, and this is amazing. Everybody, get ready to take to have a quizzical look. Skype said basically, we've been getting enough gripes about the new Skype 8 that for the time being, we're going to maintain classic Skype. You know, for the and they didn't say, you know, for how long. This could be a year, could be 3 weeks, but they said they are not going to go to they're not going to turn off classic Skype. You still can continue to use it. And I'm hoping that's going to be their wisdom for quite a while until they fix the way, the new Skype works. Why they can't get it to work so, you know, I know that they want to put new tech in there. They want to put in tech that the Skype that's on your mobile phone looks like the Skype that's on your desktop. And I understand that. But what they should have done is said, let's also allow people to configure the screen in the same way they used to if they want to. You know, that's not a difficult thing to do. You can change the engine, okay? You can change the operating system, the way the system operates, but you can maintain the same look or give people that option, like a little thing I click. Do you want the new Skype look, or do you want the classic Skype look? And I'm hoping maybe that's what they're trying to do now. But apparently they got so many complaints that they finally put out and it was just a small little blog message, or what was it? Was it on Facebook? No, it was on Microsoft's forum that said urgent or immediately. I can't remember what it said, but basically, we've been listening to you people, and we're not going to make it so that Skype Classic isn't workable on the first. So the show can still look the same for a while. And that was my good news today. Now, isn't it amazing what makes a 78-year-old guy happy? You know? So that was my good news. And I was delighted with it, especially after all the other crap that was going on. So anyway, how's the weather out your way? Is it like it is here? I am so, like the air conditioner here is barely working. I've got a 5,000 BTU air conditioner in this room. And on a decent day, it can cool the room down pretty well. The reason is that part of the reason the room gets so damn hot is because I've got all this equipment in it. I've got 4 computers. That's for starters, one of which runs very hot. And 5 screens, monitors. So this room can get very hot just during the winter. I don't need to heat this room. Let me put it that way. It stays hot on its own. But it has been just so continually hot here. And believe me, I know if you're living in Texas, I'm an asshole for even complaining, you know. But I mean, we're only 90 degrees. We aren't hitting 100. Okay. But the humidity and all of that. And then yesterday, see, everything breaks on the same day. Our air conditioner broke. It just, that's it. No more air conditioner. So then I got to call the super. And before we got here, there were also other air conditioners in the walls. And out in the dining room, there was a nice big air conditioner. And I called him and I said, can you help me? And he came up and we moved that air conditioner into the window with the one that is kind of broken. It's not really broken, it's just intermittent. In fact, oh, what do you know? All my lights went out up there. Hold on a second. Let me see. I talk about this and look what happens. See? There we go. Wow, there we go. Okay. See, I talk about this and the lights decide to go out. But anyway, so we put in the new air conditioner, and he said, this one is a little bigger than the other one. I said, what? Because they were LGs. They all looked the same to me. He said, no, yours is a 10,000 BTU. I went, okay. He said, this one's 1250, 12,500. I said, is that sufficiently more? He says, yeah, that's quite a bit more. So now, with girlfriend who never likes to turn off the air conditioner, I'm freezing my ass off. Plus, I know the bill's going to go higher because that eats up more electricity, right? So I'm having a fight with her, okay? Because I want the air conditioner. I want the air conditioner on energy saving, which she agrees with. The little yellow light says energy saving, but then she turns it down to 72 or 70. And that isn't how energy saving works. Energy saving works by using the thermostat within the air conditioner to turn it on and off to keep it at a regulated temperature. So if you set it at 76, it starts working that way. It turns on, it turns off, and it for the most part keeps the room at an even temperature. And also because it turns itself off, it's not using it as often. That's why it's energy saving. But when you turn it to 72 and it never turns off, it's the same as if you had the green light on and you weren't doing the energy saving. So I can't convince her of that. And she won't even talk about it. I come home, I said, let's talk about the air conditioner for a second. And right now, it's freezing in there, you know. She's got to get it down to, turn it down to 73. I said, doesn't matter. You know, the only time that's going to work is if the room becomes less than 73, and it don't seem to be going that way too soon because it's been really hot at night. In fact, right now, what is the current temperature? Let me just look. Current temperature here in New York, I know in Texas you're all going to laugh at me and say, you know, 83 degrees right now. It's 83 degrees. And who knows what the humidity is. But it's just, you know, it's just amazing. It's just amazing. But I can't convince her that, you know, that number one, we'll save more money if we just, you know, turn that temperature up to about 76. In fact, that's what they tell you to do. You know, they don't want, to begin with, no city wants you using your electricity that much. All right? It's just the way. You know, Skype is still saying, you want to install the new version? No, I don't want to install the new version. Fuck you. Anyway, where are we? So, I've just turned on the Skype, by the way, in case anybody wants to call. So, you know, I don't know, maybe somebody can call me up and tell me I'm all wrong and that she's all right, you know, and that she's been correct in her assumptions and I'm not correct in mine. But I would really like to, you know, I'd really like to know, I would really like to know what you think. Am I right or am I wrong? But she won't listen to me. I don't want to talk about it, you know. And I'm trying to tell her, look, I'm just trying to save you some money, dear. Just trying to save you some money. Okay, let me see here. First caller of the evening, ladies and gentlemen, has arrived in the form of, yep, Phil Meyer. Hi, Phil.
Hey.
Yeah.
I noticed the Skype go on, and but I'm afraid that if I don't call in when the Skype goes on, I'm listening to your show in a delay. You know, when I'm listening to you on the YouTube
when you see the light,
feed,
when you see the light go on,
the
little green light, that means I'm I'm available.
Yeah, I know.
Because people don't know this, but the show is delayed by something like, in some places up to a minute. You know, not all at the same time. Oh, look, we're getting a lot of people in the very beginning here. There's Scott, and there's I know Scott. It's 83 degrees here. How hot is it where you are, Scott?
88.
88. So I'm really a pussy, right? I'm really a pussy. How is it where you are, Jeff? It's a little cooler up in Connecticut, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's a little cooler today, but it has been brutal.
I mean, this is, you know what I'm sick of? It's not that I'm sick of the heat, which yesterday I went out to go work out, and it was like, I felt like I was on a griddle going down to the gym. So I didn't even go to the gym today. I didn't even want to deal with that. But the fact is that the thing that bothers me more than the heat, more than the humidity, is having to have the air conditioning on. Because air conditioning can just get so fucking annoying. I mean, I am so tired of this false, fake, cool air, you know?
You know what used to bug me in the summers in New York was the bugs.
Yeah.
Didn't you have don't you have a lot of bugs, or they don't fly up that high?
No, they don't want anything to do with New York anymore. It's not fun. Yes, Scott, you had your hand
bugs.
up.
Yeah.
Did you say Scott?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I was going to tell you, you were talking about your 12,500 BTUs.
Yeah.
Guess how many BTUs I have in my house?
Now, wait a minute. Now, do you have a central air conditioner?
I have 2 of them.
You have
50,000?
Two central air conditioners. I don't know, up around 25,000 BTU or something?
96,000.
96,000 BTU.
I'm going to Scott's house.
And you got and you have 2 of them?
Well, no, they're combined.
That's the total.
Oh, combined.
One's 60 and the other one's 36.
Now,
you know what it is in Northern California right now?
What?
92. And all I have in this studio room is a fan.
Why don't you have an air conditioner in there?
They don't allow window air conditioners in this building. The only one I can have is the one that goes onto the patio from the living room. And that they supply. I put an air conditioner in the master bedroom, and I had it there 2 days before I got a notice, take it out or you're gone.
Well, wait a minute. I think you could actually go somewhere and complain about that, you know, because
it's the deal. It was in my lease.
Suppose you are an old person and you have a heart condition, which you do, okay?
Yeah.
and you need the air conditioning because if it gets too hot, you might have a stroke.
You might die.
This is California. These people are all liberals. They'll just tell me move.
No, I mean, there's something inherently wrong with that. I mean, you would think where they would say, don't have an air conditioning hanging out your window would be in this 8-story building I'm in, you know?
Yeah. Well, they don't allow anything in the windows. And that was in the lease. So you can't put a political sign in there. You can't do anything.
So in other words, you're in that room basically having to live with a swamp cooler.
I wish it was a swamp cooler. It's just a fan.
Why'd you?
Can't you get one of those
there it is.
portable air conditioners that has a vent that goes to the window?
I tried that. They actually get hotter in the room than the air. Because the tube that returns the air, the hot air outside, is in the room, and it's radiating heat.
Well, insulate it a little bit better and shove it out.
No, but you know, he's got a point there, because what it's doing is it's taking the air, the humidity and the hot air that's in the room, and it's pumping it out the window.
Right.
Okay. So if that isn't insulated, it's going to add heat to the room.
That's what it did. So I took that back. But my friend Will showed me a swamp cooler, and it was about 3 feet high, 12 inches by 12 inches. He says you put ice water or ice in it, And then there's these other little cooling things that you put in it and turn it on, and it cools a 500-foot room. It's silent. It's comfortable. It adds humidity.
Okay, but there's one other problem, isn't there?
What's that?
You have to empty a tank.
No, I think the tank empties on its own because it uses the water, and the water will evaporate.
Yeah.
Really? Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's called an evaporative swamp cooler.
Maybe I should get that for the studio.
Well, I'm going to get one. He showed me. He sent me a link when he bought it from Amazon.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to get one. I think that's the way to go.
Let me ask you though, Scott. That's 96,000 BTU.
It's 8 tons. Yeah.
8 tons of BTU. Okay.
Right.
What's your electric bill every month?
I was thinking the same thing.
It's about 400.
That's it.
Mine's 500, and I don't have it on all the
that's
time.
Why I can't believe. What is yours normal in the wintertime when you're not running air conditioning?
About 200 some odd.
Gee, that's
Plus
pretty
all
hard.
the crap you got on.
Well, I've got all the electronics. I've got all the TV
delta.
sets. Huh?
You got to look at the delta between winter and summer. So you use a lot of electricity to power your
stuff.
Yeah, my stuff. Right. Yeah.
We cook on electricity.
Yeah.
You use electric heat
as compared to gas. Yeah.
Really?
Which is not the most efficient.
Well, you know something. It's interesting.
I have a really good grill on the patio, and so I use the gas there more. I don't think I've ever used the oven, the electric oven in this apartment.
Grill in the patio either at that place.
Oh, I am. I'm grandfathered in because my thing said gas grills were allowed, and now no grills are allowed. But they can't unless if I move units. I'm shit out of luck.
No grills allowed. Isn't that sexist? Oh, no grills allowed. I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, maybe the swamp cooler is the answer then.
It's quiet, and it's comfortable, and it adds back a certain humidity that is comfortable. It doesn't dry the air.
People say, well, why don't you get an 8,000 BTU? And I'm thinking of doing that. Not this year. It's too late in the year now. I'll do it next year. But I can run this 5,000, and I can run the 5,000 in the guest room at the same time and not blow a fuse. But I'm wondering what happens when I get the 8,000. My super seems to think it'll take the load, you know. But when I used to have the 10,000 on the same circuit as this stuff, and then I would go in and use the microwave. That's all she wrote, Charlie. Got to go down to the basement.
I have or had for my sanding equipment these booster units that would boost and control the amount of electricity that they were drawing. So I'd put it in between the circuit breakers and my machine, and I could dial what I wanted, and it would boost.
But I got circuit breakers in this apartment, and they weren't the thing that blows. What blows all of a sudden is this circuit breaker in the basement. And let's say it's 10 o'clock at night, and there's nobody to get a hold of to go down to flip the circuit breaker. It's not like I can just go down there myself and go flip.
How old is that circuit breaker?
I would say that circuit breaker is about 90 years old.
This is what happens. These circuit breakers wear out. At my store, I used to use the circuit breakers to flip on certain lights and so forth, and eventually they wore out, and I had to replace them. You might make a deal with the super, give them $100, let them, replace that circuit breaker with a new one, and I bet you it won't pop.
I asked him about that yesterday. I said, do we need a new circuit breaker down there? He says, no. He says, it's just the way the building is. This is an old building.
I know. But the panel may be so old that they can't get a circuit breaker to fit that panel.
Well, it could be.
Because I had to replace a panel.
And do I say to the, without a lease, do I say to the owners, hey, go down and change that thing? Or even if I did have a lease, do I say go down and change that thing when they won't even fix the cracks in the floors in the lobby?
They can't deny you any services while you're going through this situation.
No, that's not the point. That's not the point. This is not a service they would do for anybody. They're so fucking cheap. these landlords. They're not going to go put in. They're not going to They should redo all the electrical in this apartment house.
Well, for the you can always use that ADA thing, which is I'm 78. I'm having some health issues and I need the air conditioning.
What are your health issues? I have numb feet. Go fuck.
Oh, that's
yourself.
good enough.
Go fuck.
Good enough.
Go fuck.
They don't
yourself.
have to know what the health issues are.
They don't want to hear about your pussy problems. You know.
You give it a shot. I mean, sometimes they just would rather avoid another lawsuit.
Yeah. Yes, Jeff.
Yeah, we just bought a system called DeLong.
DeLonghi, yeah.
Yeah, and we had one, I don't know, 6 or 7 years ago in a different house. It was great. And my son was in Brooklyn.
Now, is this for air conditioning?
It's for air conditioning.
Oh, because I used to have one of those DeLonghi heaters. You know?
Me too. The oil-filled heater.
Yeah, the ones that catch fire and people die. Yeah, those.
No, they don't catch fire. No, those DeLonghis are very safe.
Yeah.
And you can attach it to the window.
Yeah.
So you can open the window that much, and then you put this piece in it, and a little tube goes from there to the.
Yeah, but he was saying the tube gets hot.
Jeff, do you have two tubes, one for in and one for out, or there's some of them that have two tubes, and there's some that just have one tube.
No, the one I saw has one tube, which is basically the tube that, yes, you're right, it's bringing some hot air.
Yeah, but that it air conditions.
From outside, but it's air conditioning. And,
right.
and a big thing in New York or Connecticut, it's real moist. That's our big problem here.
But an air conditioner dries the air.
I know.
Well, yeah. It also dehumidifies. Yeah. Now, for instance, when he took this thing out, okay, when he took this thing out, he put it down, and it was all of a sudden it started dripping because
there's condensation inside.
Just full of cold water.
Well, it was just the water that it was turning it was dehumidifying as well, and it
was condensation.
It hadn't expelled all the water. Yeah. The water tube is like just a little tube on the side of the thing.
That's
it hangs out the window. That's why during the summer, you walk down the streets in New York City, you go all of a sudden, there's not a cloud in the sky. Is it going to rain?
It's a bird.
But what you're feeling is somebody's condensation coming down on you.
Yeah.
And that's your bath for the day.
Maybe at your gym.
Huh?
Maybe at your gym.
Maybe at my gym, exactly. So. Okay.
So yeah, it's 92 here. The fan's keeping it comfortable. Then I was looking at these Dyson cooling fans.
Yeah.
Bladeless,
yeah. And I'm hoping, I'm saying to myself, if I could find out if they were noiseless, that would be nice too.
They're pretty quiet.
Well, by the way, if Rob's listening, thank you, Rob. I appreciate it. He knows what I'm talking about.
But I think if you could go negotiate up to like 74 degrees, you get, or maybe even 75.
Well, all I'm saying is, to me, it's not uncomfortable at 75, 76. It is uncomfortable at 72 because I'm freezing my ass off. Do you know, she had it so cold in there a couple of nights ago, I had to put a sweater on. And outside, and I look at the temperature and it says 85, and I'm going, what the fuck am I wearing a sweater for? I just feel guilty about wearing a sweater.
When I lived in Miami going to college, my mother would call me. She says, "Are you wearing a sweater? And did you brush your teeth?"
Yeah. Right.
I'm 64. She still does that today.
By the way, we could use some more callers, folks. They'll probably be calling tonight. We had not only a full house, we had a royal flush last night.
It was very crowded.
Very
so
crowded.
there's one way to solve your problem, Alex.
Yeah.
It's not exactly legal, but it's just us talking, right?
Yeah.
Just us talking. you could get somebody to adjust the thermostat.
Oh, I don't have a thermostat.
He has steam heat.
I have steam heat.
Oh, talk about the
Well,
air
radiators.
conditioner. You have a radiator. You have an air conditioner. Right?
Oh, you mean adjust the thermostat so that Marjorie thinks it's 72, but it's really 76?
Right.
I knew where we were going.
That's like clothing.
So
Yeah.
that's what you got to.
I'm glad you just said just between us, because tomorrow she's going to be listening to this show and
No, that's what I'm
going,
trying to tell you. Don't say it. Listen. You're a fool.
you know.
Nah, I don't think that's the way to go. Probably
Oh, well,
the way to
here's
go
the part.
is,
Here's the part that really got me yesterday. She comes home. To begin with, I don't tell her that I've switched out the air conditioners. Also, part of the switching it out is that the old air conditioner had like this accordion pleating that comes out to block the area.
Yeah.
Well, after 5 years, that was getting pretty ratty. So we took what was in the living room with these things and what is the same size window, which were clear plastic pieces that go in there so you can see out the window, right? And so I figure I'm not going to tell her anything. I want to see how long it's going to take her to be able to notice this. So she comes home, and she's, you know, usually as she is when she gets home from work, she's grouchy. You know, that's the time of day she beats me. And and then she says to me, and by the way, I woke up last night, I was sweating my ass off because you had turned off the air conditioner. And I'm just keeping my mouth shut, right? She says, why did you turn on? I said, I didn't turn off the air conditioner. She said, you had to because it wasn't on and I was sweating. And I had to turn it back on. I said, good, good. She's still not noticing that anything's different in the bedroom. And by the way, the air conditioner is right next to her on her side of the bed. So, but she's not even noticing that the accordion pleating is gone. And now she's still berating me. Well, you did. You turned it off. I know you did. And finally I had to tell her, will you look over there? Do you notice anything different? And she looks and goes, oh, you put in that glass stuff. It's also another air conditioner. That's the one from the dining room because the one that you were complaining kept turning itself off last night was broken. Because that's what it was doing to me, and that's why I called the super and had him come in and do that. And she thought that I had turned the air conditioning off. See? Again, it's always my fault. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, Jeff.
Well, tomorrow night, I'm going to Rome.
Oh,
Tomorrow
And it's
night?
going to be 90 degrees there.
Oh, boy.
So-
Oh,
We're
they're
gonna
having a
die.
heat wave in Europe.
I
People
know.
are dying
Yeah.
all over the place.
Oh, wow.
know.
Well, we're going to, how long
And the
you
only reason that we're going this time of year
yeah.
is because the grandkids
school
are
are off.
going.
How
and
long,
they're all off
how long are you going to be gone for?
for a week.
A week. Oh, okay. Well,
So,
we're going to miss you.
and I figured out that when you guys get on the phone here at 10 o'clock Eastern,
Yeah.
it's 4 a.m.
Yeah, well, I guess we won't be hearing from you.
You won't be hearing from me very often. Not at all.
Boy. Well, you're going to have to take up the slack next week, Ray, and be here every night
Yeah.
because we're going to...
Ma-
Jeff's going to be out with the Italians, you know.
That's right.
Mafia? Who are you going out with?
Yeah.
Drink of wine.
Air Italia.
Air Italia
You're going
No.
to Italy, huh?
I'm going to Rome.
to Rome.
Oh,
Roma.
Roma. All right.
So,
Hey, that's Ray's stomping ground.
Yeah.
I've only been there. I've only been to Italy 3 times.
yeah, Renati is an Italian name, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm from Italy. Although I did that Ancestry.com thing, and I'm half Irish and English.
Oh, really?
Well, I could be all Italian, but in the north there, the DNA kind of goes up down into northern Italy for some reason.
Yeah, well, I got my mine back from Ancestry DNA, and I'm 99% Jewish.
Jewish.
That's cool.
Hey, you know, now when you abduct some young girl, we'll be able to find you with all these DNA samples.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's pretty good.
Have that to look forward to.
Yeah. I keep getting these things from Ancestry DNA saying we have matches to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Was it like a dating service now?
No.
Date your sister?
You can date your fourth or fifth cousin.
Well, my should I tell the story? My ex-wife.
Do they want money for the matches?
You pay to find out all about it.
My ex-wife had a kid when she was a teenager, actually, and she gave it up.
Yeah.
And she just got a note from somebody saying, "Hey, I'm your son. I found you on Ancestry DNA."
Oh, Jesus.
Wow.
And
That
she
sucks.
decided, I think she decided, I should ask her about that next time I talk to her. But I think she decided not to see him.
Wow.
That after all these years, why, you know, I mean, I had that quandary myself once about that I had a kid when I was 19 and she gave it up. And I wondered whether I should go looking for the kid. And at one point, I was going to hire a detective and have him go look, because in those days when they did adoption, when they did this kind of thing, they disappeared into this abyss, you know. And it was so, and there was no way to really find them. There's no paper trail, but a good detective might be able to do it. And then I decided not to, because I came up with the idea that if the kid wants to see me, that's one thing. Why should I suddenly come knocking on some kid's door and say, "Daddy's home," you know?
Yeah.
That maybe all his life he wasn't told that, or maybe all his life he got used to the fact that Daddy wasn't home.
Yeah.
And
You know,
so I decided not to, you know.
I don't know if there was a kid out there and needed that closure to see me. I think I would give them that. You know?
If the kid came to me, but me going to the kid.
Well, did the kid go to your ex-wife?
Yes, I think so.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's her decision to make on that.
Yeah.
You know, if the kid today came to me,
Yeah.
if he's still alive, I mean, hell, the kid's probably
70.
My age.
Huh?
My age.
Oh, older.
Yeah.
The kid.
Old?
The kid would be. Well, the kid would
Well,
be.
you were 19.
a
That's
couple years
like
older.
60 years.
The
60,
kid would be. The
58,
kid would
yeah.
be 61.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and if he came knocking on my door, and I strongly, why do all of a sudden the TV numbers are going down like crazy? Is a bad signal going out there or something tonight? Doesn't look like
And
it.
nobody likes adoption.
But if there was a knock on my door and all of a sudden it was, as I suspect, Howard Stern, you know, I just don't want that shock, you know. So.
Well, you know, I don't think that that's the way they should do it. They should maybe write a letter or have somebody contact you and say, hey, you know, would you be open to this visit?
I know, but they just send you this thing saying this person is an almost positive DNA match for you. Right?
So what type of match was it? Was it a cousin or an uncle?
I know, I've gotten a couple of them. One that looks like it's like a third cousin or something. I haven't, but I have no idea really, to tell you the truth. I mean, I can't tell you what the what the story is, but I'm wondering if this is a good thing for them to do. You know, I mean,
to give you the matches?
Yeah,
without asking.
Without asking, yeah. I never asked for these.
Yeah.
I just suddenly I get a thing from Ancestry DNA, and they say, "Hey, this woman is your distant cousin or something." I said, "How distant? I mean, can I fuck her?" You know.
Can you opt out of these notifications?
That I don't. I guess I can.
I think you can.
Yeah, but
I'm looking at mine right here. I have a list of about 50 fourth cousins.
Really?
Yeah.
And they're also your sisters.
Wait a minute.
And
Let me see here. Ancestry.
Sixth
DNA.
cousin, fourth cousin.
Wow.
Ancestry.
Yeah, I never did the DNA thing. Although I did look at Ancestry.com, and it's got my grandfather's census, my father's birth, death, and marriage, my siblings, not siblings, yeah, siblings, and my kids.
Well, let me see here. Here it says here, subscribe to our access our full collection of records. They like try to upsell you on this deal.
Yeah.
But they said that I am 98% European Jewish. Wow. 1% Africa North.
That's Moroccan or something like that, or Algerian.
1% Caucasus. Let's see here. But wait a minute, where is it? Where's my? Where's my? Where am I? I don't. It doesn't have a list of. Oh, here we go. Here are the people. You have no recent hints in your tree. What is this? I have one letter. Messages team. But where are all those people they sent me stuff about? Trees? No, I don't think so. Home. DNA. DNA story. DNA matches. Here we go. Here we go. D. Rappaport 78. That is my cousin, David Rappaport. First, second cousin. So it's extremely high. So I got that one. I probably should write him. I wonder what happened to him. He was a stand-up comic. Kita. Does that sound like somebody who would be related to me?
Maybe it's one of those hookers that are sending friend requests.
Confidence extremely high as a second cousin. Gail Reiter. Possible range second or third cousins. Extremely high, it says. Stacy Deweese. Extremely high, second or third cousin. Another second or third cousin, extremely high, is Charles Stew. I guess these are just nicknames or whatever.
Hey, what's that one on the screen I see? Ted Kaczynski?
Yeah, Ted Kaczynski. Then we get down to third cousins. There's a good-looking third cousin here named Marina Mariskine. She's a third or fourth cousin. How high can you, in the cousin range, how high do you have to go before you can start fucking?
I think
third,
it's the second.
Second, it
think
depends
they
what
let you
state
marry-
you're in.
Yeah.
Because Eleanor Roosevelt, was a fifth cousin to Franklin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine. That's fine.
Well, there's some cultures that still marry their first cousins. There's some states where people marry the second cousins.
There's some states they marry their sisters. But
like Arkansas.
Yeah.
Hey,
But here are a whole bunch of
Third
names.
cousin, you're safe.
yeah.
They say extremely high, so I don't know. I don't know what my story is, but I do know they were right on David Rappaport. He's the number one. He's the first cousin, and he definitely is. I should actually.
If these are extremely high, maybe they're just smoking dope.
Maybe I should write them. Maybe I should write them.
I wrote some of mine that were close, and we talked on the phone a couple times. It was kind of cool.
Yeah, and what did you find out?
We talked about relatives that had both abused us when we were children. Shit like that.
Oh, really? Oh, that's...
It was kind of fun. Yeah, I'm 38% Northern Italy, 29% Great Britain, and 21% Ireland, Scotland, Wales.
Really?
And do you know which relatives gave you those?
Yeah, so my dad is half. His mother was from Great Britain, but that should only account for 25% because his father was from Italy. So, I think his father.
Wait a minute, your egg's done.
I think his father was also from, even though they migrated to Italy, were from the British Isles because they have blue eyes, red hair, fair skin in the middle of the mountains near Genoa, and I've been there. So I think that that's where the rest of it comes from.
Okay.
Now you don't get any. For instance, my great grandparents were coming over from Russia, and my grandmother was born in England on the way over. That doesn't make her English, you know.
Not her DNA, no.
Not her DNA, yeah.
But you can get the records though of her birth, and they give you the ship records, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like I see when my grandmother's family came in to Ellis Island, and then when we went to Ellis Island in the little tour, they said, "Olari, you are next in line, Olari," and that was my grandmother's name, my grandmother's father's name.
It's funny. I went to. You can go on the Ellis Island site, and I actually found the page where my mother and my father are listed.
There you go.
As having gone through Ellis Island. Scott, did you ever try any of these ancestry DNA things?
No, the cops don't need to know where I'm at.
I see. Okay. All right.
Hey, you know the other thing you can do with this is you can download, and I did it. You can download your whole genome, and it'll tell you if you send it to certain websites, it'll tell you your chance of getting certain diseases.
Now, how do they get the DNA?
Through saliva. You spit into this thing a whole bunch of times, and then you send it to them.
I had to spit twice. They sent me another tube because my first spit wasn't good. I guess it still had some of my dinner or something.
Well, you know, I did have some DNA work done because my first wife, she had a miscarriage. And so we wanted to make sure there wasn't a problem. So the next time she was carrying, they took some amniotic fluid, and they also took something from me, I don't know what it was, so that they could see if there was any
I think it was
issues.
your fucking
your second
brain
cell.
Yeah. Well, you know, they wanted to make sure that we didn't have some sort of genetic issues.
Oh, I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. I have no doubt about your genetic issues.
With that hat?
Yeah.
Proof.
Yeah, proof positive. So anyway, a couple of things we haven't talked about in the last couple of nights, and one of which I thought might be interesting to pursue. The change in the Oscars.
Oh, that is so ridiculous.
You mean February?
Well, February 28th, but not this year. Next year.
Yeah, they want more viewership.
A year from now, what? You know, fuck viewership. This is the Academy Awards. This is something that's been a tradition in this country since 1927. And I voted in those, by the way, and my Janet Gaynor won, and I voted for her. But anyway, do you know what the first movie was to win Academy Award?
Birth of Nation?
No, the Charlie Chaplin movie.
Nope. Wings.
Wings.
That.
Yep.
Forgot it, but I knew it.
Barbecued or fried?
That's why they made a big deal out of the fact that the artist, when it won for Best Picture, the artist, do you remember that a few years ago?
Yeah,
was the first. It was the second picture in history, silent movie, to win an Academy Award. Because the first one had been Wings, and then after that, sound came in, because they did it in 27, and I don't think they had another Academy Award for 2 years. But anyway, all of a sudden they've decided they're going to add a category. And the category is achievement in popular film.
Yeah.
Now, how do you define popular film?
Well, they want to make sure that Black Panther can win an award. That's what it's about.
But number one, I mean, okay, that was a popular film, but how do you decide which popular films? You know, there were several popular films this year.
Because they want all the Marvel films and sci-fi films and all those to be able to win awards, and they never do. And in this case, in particular, it's because of Black Panther, and there's a lot of political pressure for that. Because it wouldn't have won Best Picture,
but
so now it's going to win
when you talk about
most popular film.
About these films don't get nominated. Star Wars was nominated for Best Picture. Avatar was nominated for Best Picture. Let me see here. I think maybe Raiders of the Lost Ark was nominated for Best Picture, if I'm not mistaken. So it's not like popular pictures don't get nominated, and they certainly pick up a lot of the artistic awards, which, like, they're no longer going to, they're going to do away with a lot of the categories that they're going to announce on the Academy Awards. You know what how they're going to give them away? During the commercial breaks. So, you know, like best costumes is going to be during a commercial break, and then at the end of the show they're going to do a montage of all the people who'd won the other awards.
It's disgusting.
And they want to bring it in at under 3 hours. Well, I've got a suggestion. To begin with, one less film category might help. That would do away with at least 5 minutes, and especially if it's a really big film, you're not going to get all those people on stage at the same time. And why don't you do away with those stupid musical numbers that you do for best song? To begin with, none of those songs, most people don't know what most of those songs are anyway.
Why don't they do away with the political rants?
That'll cut it. They've had years where there are no political rants, Phil. That doesn't do it. That's not what does it.
That's not what's... Yeah, people do it within their time, usually.
They're going to do it anyway, you know, if they want to. So.
But I think the popular film thing is just cheapening the whole thing. I mean, you're supposed to be giving an award for the best film artistically or whatever. And now, so what's the best film? The best popular film or best picture now? What is?
The best picture is going to. But suppose.
Yeah, but
then can Black Panther also be up for best picture?
I don't know. I just think they're trying to make sure that Black Panther wins something. That's what I think.
I think the reason why the Academy Awards are getting less of an audience is because there's a certain archaic value to the Academy Awards. They're still the most watched of all the award shows, you know. They're still the most respected of all the award shows. But I think the reason the viewership has gone down is because I think there's a younger audience out there that does not consider them significant. And, you know, suddenly deciding you're going to have Best Popular Picture is going to have all the young people in America go, oh, I got to watch that. You know, what is it going to become? The MTV Movie Awards? You know, forget the Oscar, give it a big bucket of popcorn, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, yes, there have been newer categories. Can you name a new category? I can.
The CGI stuff? I don't know. No. Animation?
Best animated feature.
Yeah.
It used to be just best animated cartoon short. Best animation.
My category wouldn't work. What, extra crispy?
No. But
what is that?
The chicken.
Oh.
No, but you get what I'm saying here is that you know, we have had new awards, but they've been needed because all of a sudden there were a lot more. I mean, there were a lot more animated features, and so it became a very important category on its own because maybe the output of Hollywood, 10% of the movies are animated.
You know, it kind of degrades these guys that you don't see. You know, that win for best costume or this kind of stuff because they're behind the scenes, and it's unfortunate that they're not getting, you know, that they're getting relegated to the coat closet.
If they were insignificant in the public's mind, they're going to be even more insignificant by not getting an award at the Academy Awards.
Well, if they were getting it, they would be more significant. You know, they would be at least be made aware.
I'll tell you, an award show that has as many awards as the Academy Awards has, that is in and out in 2 hours, are the BAFTAs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the BAFTAs in England, 2 hours in and out, nobody gets hurt. You know, and all they do is they just deal with the awards. They don't have big showy numbers of the song of the year with a song you never heard before in your life and don't want to ever hear again. You know.
Well, the performing arts in England are more seen as a job, and these people are getting awarded for their job. Here, they have their monarchy over there that are the stars. Yeah. We have our movie stars.
And I'll tell you, the BAFTAs. You would think that all the BAFTA awards were nothing but British pictures, but they're not. They also include American pictures. They include any picture that was released in Britain, and so you have a very nice mixture. But also, some of the British films, which you never heard of, do make the cut. You know, and it's fun to watch. You know, but I just think that it's, you know, ridiculous.
How do you watch the BAFTAs? I've never watched them.
Is that lightning? Do you have a window in back of you,
Yes.
Scott? And is that lightning we're seeing?
Yeah. If I get knocked off the air, it's because we lost power. Yeah.
Really?
It's a big storm going on right now.
Because as I was looking in back of them, there was this like flashing, and I thought, you know.
Now, why wouldn't you have solar when you have 96,000 BTUs going 9 months of the year? Have solar and a backup battery.
Because with the 96,000 BTU, that solar power will last about 5 minutes.
Well, no, they build up. You know, you can have a battery.
For panels, I thought about solar, but my wife wants to move anyway, so for the last couple of years, and it'd be pointless. But I don't want to move, so I'm just gotta keep my voice down.
Where are you, Scott?
He's in Pussy Whip, Texas.
Pussy Whip, Texas.
Pussy Whip, Texas.
Did you used to live in Iowa?
Well, I grew up in Iowa.
Oh, okay.
I came to Texas when I was 21.
Oh.
Got pussy whipped.
Got pussy whipped.
Uh-oh. Careful, it's gonna get him in trouble.
Yeah, I don't want to get him in trouble. Don't want to get him in trouble. Boy, we have a low viewing audience tonight. Is there something on tonight that I don't know about?
I don't think so.
It's preseason football, but nobody watches that shit.
Well, Rob's a big fan, so he's probably watching.
No, he's baseball.
He's baseball. Oh.
Okay.
See, I don't know the difference between football and baseball.
Yeah, you're right.
One you kick, one you throw.
You're right.
Yeah.
There's no difference between baseball and football.
God, I keep thinking during the day. Keep thinking during. Okay, I know what I wanted to talk about. Now I remember. You see, I think about all these things I want to talk about, and really, at my age, I should write them down before I go on, or when I think about them. And,
wait a minute, you just arguing with girlfriend about that the other day, and you like were so pissed at her for saying that.
Yeah. Well,
and now you're saying you're going to do it?
That was a checklist.
No, a checklist.
That was a checklist.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
But anyway, no, because when I get off the air here, and I'm a little tired tonight for some reason, but when I get off the air here, I guess one of the reasons I'm tired is it's a little warm. Once I do that, now I forgot what I was going to say. I should have written it down.
You have to upload everything. You have to upload
everything.
Anyway,
here's what I wanted to bring up. Today, the Trump administration offered up one of the most idiotic ideas I've ever heard coming out of the Space Force.
Right.
Now, to begin with,
the most powerful space.
What is the Space Force going to do exactly?
I'm hoping that it has cybersecurity as part of it.
No, that's not. No, that's not Space Force. It has nothing to do with Space Force.
Well, it goes, No.
It has nothing to do with cybersecurity, and that's.
I'm hoping that's
no, but it's not going to be part of it because it doesn't come under space. Phil,
well,
you're wrong.
Yeah.
Just admit it.
Wrong.
Let's move on.
Yeah.
The idea of a Space Force disgusts me. And the reason...
Everything that this administration brings up disgusts you.
It disgusts me because you'd think there was one place we could go without making war. You know? And we signed, believe it or not, a treaty a few years ago with the Russians and a lot of other people that space would not be used to create munitions or
how do you know that that's what the Space Force is going to create?
Well, what is the Space Force going to do? Police space?
Maybe. You know, a good offense is a good defense. You know,
I mean,
that's
on.
what Trump feels is strength through
no, but
leadership through strength.
What we're thinking about with the Space Force is a very kind of aggressive position on it.
No, that's your interpretation.
Well, I listened to Pence today. It's no interpretation. It's what he was saying.
What did Pence say?
Pence basically was saying they want to have a Space Force like they have the Air Force, like they have the Army, like they have the Navy and all of that, who will do their thing for space. And I'm thinking, hey, good, we're going to wage war in space now.
No, that's an assumption.
Yeah, and it's my assumption that Trump's a prick, okay?
Yeah. Hey, you know, I understand that you're out in space there, but I just read that the U.S. Court of Appeals upheld the California bullet stamping law, which means that every time you fire a bullet, there's it puts information into it that can be traced.
I'm glad you sidetracked this.
Yeah, well,
you couldn't wait.
You're talking about something.
You couldn't wait till this got boring to bring that up.
Yeah. You know, I mean, what's the Space Force? You're saying it's negative. I don't see anything negative about having
I think space should only have in its viewfinder a bright and rosy positive future without any idea of a weaponized force associated
now if the
with
Chinese want to weaponize the moon so that they can shoot back this way.
No,
now, don't you think it's a good idea that there's some sort of counter?
Where did you hear that?
Why would they want to do that? That's
stupid. Why would the Americans want to weaponize space? All they want to do is make sure
wait a minute. Let me get this straight. They can shoot down at us, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
By weaponizing the moon? Well, why can't we shoot up at them?
There's no reason to if you have a something that neutralizes the forces.
Oh, and that's going to be a space force.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Oh,
Wouldn't
God.
it be?
More money
our
to waste.
Army and Navy don't necessarily go out and try to make war.
Yes, Ray.
Well, remember when Reagan talked about Star Wars? I mean, he wanted to do this a long time ago. And I'm not saying I'm for it, but one thing that really surprised me is that Neil deGrasse Tyson, you know, the genius scientist, thinks it's not altogether a crazy idea, is what he said.
It also bankrupted the Soviets. When they thought that there was a Star Wars, they pushed and pushed along with the Afghani war. But Star Wars, I think, led to the demise of the Soviet Union.
No, it didn't.
Yeah, but we're friends with Russia
That's not the reason. That's not the reason why the Soviet Union.
I'm friends with them. You know, you guys not.
So Steven Seagal.
Yeah.
I just found I didn't realize he became a Russian citizen.
Really?
Yeah, I mean that's really going a long way when you feel your audience doesn't want you anymore.
Is that where he went?
Yes.
I was watching a Steven Seagal movie.
He's just been made a ambassador by Putin to create a better relationship between the United States and Russia. Steven Seagal is going to do that.
Wow, we should have Sylvester Stallone do it on this side.
Yeah, we should have them all arm wrestle each other. Oh,
yeah.
Wait a minute, have you seen how fat Steven Seagal has gotten?
Yeah, that's true. Stallone still looks awesome. That's steroids.
He's wearing like one of those
overcoats.
Well, you know how Steven Seagal started, don't you? You know how he got into the movie.
He was a bodyguard for somebody.
No, he was a masseuse or something for like Robert Evans, I think it was. And they said, "Oh, well, let's give you a movie," and they put him in a movie, and Steven Seagal became, quote, you know, they use this term "star" very loosely, a movie star. And
I like Steven Seagal movies.
What do you mean they sucked? Name one. Name one.
Okay, I just watched one 15 minutes before your show.
Name one. Yeah, that's how much
Assumption or
that's how much it stuck in your mind.
Yeah, well,
excellent movie.
Yeah, it was some Russian gal had a tape of somebody killing her sister, and Steven Seagal kills all the bad guys.
That's pretty much the plot of any Steven Seagal film.
I even liked his TV show when he was a reserve police officer, and he would ride around in a marked unit. And
that was pretty much the bottom of his career. That's why he went to Russia. And that thing, that's kind of
but
like
the guys that would get arrested.
Somebody
say,
used to
you're Steven Seagal. Can I get your autograph?
I can't remember who it was. Bobby Slayton, somebody like that, had a bit about, when you go to McDonald's and they either turn you down for a job or fire you, where do you go after that?
Cabinet.
That's pretty much about as low on the scale as you can get. Well, that's exactly what happened to Steven Seagal. He wound up working at a McDonald's.
Nah.
And McDonald's didn't want him anymore.
He has plenty of money. But
oh, really?
Yeah.
How do you know he has plenty of money?
Well, he's got I've seen some TV shows about him and his house and his guns and all this stuff.
Says he has $16 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess he wouldn't have to worry about his next meal. But talking about Uber, Ray, you just mentioned that? I guess in New York,
how about space Uber? How about Uber in space? I like that idea. Uber in space.
I think we need space guns.
Yeah, I didn't even know.
Yeah.
They have Amish Uber. Uber in Amish country, they have carts.
Yeah, they have
horses.
a guy with a cart who's an Uber driver. Yeah.
But your Lurch, your mayor, de Blasio, he's 7 feet tall, he wants to eliminate or greatly reduce the Uber cabs.
They just made the law today to do it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they made the law to do it.
I guess.
And also guarantee a minimum
wage of
income.
$15 an hour.
Yeah.
If you drive an Uber.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, that makes them employees and not subcontractors at that point, and they're going to have to start withholding taxes and doing all those other things.
And provide insurance.
Yeah, but this applies to Uber and it applies to Lyft, I think, is the other company.
And there's some.
Well, you know what happened. In New York, we have a thing called the yellow cabs. Now, in a lot of other towns, you have cabs and
medallion cabs.
But here you have medallion cabs, and that means that each of these people paid. I don't know what the price is now, but at one point it was as high as $1 million. As high as $1 million for a medallion. Yeah. And you get this medallion, and it's on your stamped onto your, welded onto the hood of your car, and that gives you the right to drive a cab in New York. And now, we could argue that was not the best idea in the world because it became a very closed system. They then opened it up to the green cars. They had a lot of black cars going around, and they were what were called gypsy cabs. And what they did is they brought them into a legal framework by becoming green cabs. But they can't go below 110th Street on, I think, the east side, and on the west side they can't go.
Do they need to be
below
called
46
for service?
No, no.
They can't pick people up on the street.
I hail them right on the street here in Harlem. Yeah, and thank God they exist. Because there was a time when I first got here, if a yellow cab came through Harlem, it came through Harlem. It just zipped through Harlem. It didn't stop. You could throw yourself in front of them. They run over you. So the black cars, the gypsy cars, were what I got used to using. So when the green cars came in, these are kind of private guys, and so that's a second tier here in New York. Well, here comes Uber and here comes Lyft, and here are these guys with, I don't know if the medallion is $1 million anymore, but let's say they're a couple of $100,000 each, and they're going south. They're losing money because of Uber. And what's Uber offering? Uber's offering an unpleasant experience.
Well, from what people tell me, I've never taken an Uber, but from what people tell me is that the cars are clean, they're prompt, they pick you up. There may be some issues over different pricing.
And things like rape, little stuff like that.
Well, my car is always perfectly clean, and I have almost a 5.0 rating, so there. On Uber and Lyft.
Do you do Uber?
Yeah, I do Uber and Lyft, and sometimes I do it a lot of hours if I need the money.
Yeah.
Wow. Is there money enough to be made?
You got to do it during the right times of the day, like the morning and the weekdays is the best time. And then also, if you do work full time in the Bay Area, you should pick one company, and then you start getting bonuses, like at the end of the week, for doing so many rides. And then you can survive on it.
Doesn't one of them have like a $2,000 or $2,500 bonus right now?
So the guys who make the most money are those who treat it like network marketing, and they set up websites and give like lessons on how to drive and be efficient, and then they give out their code, and then when somebody signs up and gives so many rides, they get money, the other person gets money, and there are people who make a lot of money just doing that, and they hardly ever drive.
Isn't that called multi-level marketing?
Yeah.
Pyramid scheme?
Kind of, yeah. And they hardly ever drive, and that's all they do. Yeah. Not a lot of people, but those guys exist. Yeah.
So anyway, so they did away with, or they're limiting. They're not doing away with Lyft and Uber, but they're limiting the amount of Ubers that can be on and Lyfts that can be on the street at one time.
The number of new people that can sign up, I think, is what I heard today on the news.
Yeah, and San Francisco, I hear the Uber situation is so bad that it's clogging the streets.
It's not as okay. So I drive, and it's a little exaggerated. And also, the Uber drivers and Lyft drivers have gotten much better because you can get a $350 ticket for double parking. So I have not seen it as a problem anymore. Honestly, I don't see people doing that much because you can't risk getting a $350 ticket. So you just pull up.
Yeah, but I've told if
you call the people and you say, I'm 100 feet ahead of you, or you got to walk up a little bit.
Now, do you drive in the city or just in Palo Alto in that area?
Well, I wherever I end up. I mean, often if you start here, you often end up in the city.
I see.
But if I have to go to San Francisco, which I often do for work, for acting or auditions or whatever, I'll drive people coming home, and it'll take me an extra half an hour, and I'll make anywhere between $20 and $80.
Plus, you get in the carpool lane.
And I get in the carpool lane, and I cover like more than my gas, and I've hardly worked. So it kind of works out well for me, because you can do a directional thing with it.
I used to stop and pick people up at the BART station just to get into the carpool lane when I was going into the city.
They still do that.
Yeah, it's there's a hierarchy of they stand in line. There's a certain way they do it. They get in the car.
And Waze now, the map.
Yeah.
You can do carpools on Waze.
Wow.
And I think a lot of people who go across the bridge do that on Waze.
Yeah. We don't have a lot of people, as many people as usual, watching us, but we have more than usual listening to us. Very strange tonight. Maybe
you mean like listening on?
Maybe part of the country isn't getting YouTube. I don't know. But anyway, so
it's the Russians.
Yeah. So let's see here. Oscar's a Space Force. Stupid idea. And I'm the first guy to say let's go to space, but for peaceful reasons. And
how do you know that's not peaceful?
And we have our Space Force. It's run by Elon Musk. So, we have it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll look and see on let's say YouTube, see why if your signal's going out. Is it or
I'm getting it here.
Yeah.
All right.
It says there's 25.
Yeah.
Probably one of them.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm one of them.
I'm at least two of them, maybe three of them.
I can look at myself.
God, there's nobody listening to us tonight. Yes, Jeff.
I heard something interesting about a guy from New York who is he's not a senator, but he's a congressman, and he was also investing in a Australian medical company.
Yeah, that's another one of Trump's friends
from Buffalo.
Right.
Yeah,
he was one of the first supporters.
The first guy who supported Trump. Well, guess what? he found out cheating on the whole system.
Well, alleged, because he's only been charged with it. It's alleged.
He tipped off.
It's alleged. At this point, you have to say alleged.
Yeah, but you see, he had 1.3 million shares, and he sold within 10 minutes of getting that news. And if he didn't, he would have lost $600,000.
Yeah, well, he would have lost $600,000. He would have lost that, but he
had got 44 million. Why is he doing that?
And by the way,
greed.
But
he also tipped his son off. I heard.
The point is, it's called insider trading. In spite of the fact that you're going to lose a gajillion amount of money, you're not supposed to sell it. Now, if he'd sold it off the day before because he smelled something bad or whatever, but he didn't. And we're going to have to see in a court of law what happens here. But it's yet another one of those people that supposedly drained the swamp.
He's going down.
Martha Stewart went to jail for that.
Yeah. Did she go for insider trading?
Yeah, she had. Yeah, that's what it was.
She went for lying to the FBI.
Well, that's
okay.
They all go for that.
Oh, I thought it was
so
insider
did this
trading.
guy. They lied.
Yeah, this guy did the same thing. Yeah.
That's one thing you should never do. Let's say they try to catch you for something and you want to sneak out of it. Do not lie to the FBI. That's why Trump is so worried about talking to Mueller and why his people are afraid of talking to Mueller.
No.
Because, wait a minute, hold on a second. He is a serial liar. The guy doesn't know, he lies so much, he doesn't know the truth from a lie. Okay?
Right.
And they're afraid that all he's going to do is make one fucking mistake, which is very, very possible, and the jig's
up on the charges.
Yeah.
Well, you see, the thing is even if what you say is not a lie, but it differs from the next time they ask it, then they consider it a lie.
Here's the interesting part, Phil.
Oh, so she got charged with both.
I've said this before.
Yeah.
The trouble with a guy like Trump who lies continually is
he's got a big mouth.
Wait a minute. When you're lying, it's very hard to be consistent. Because you don't remember every way in which you told that lie. When you're telling the truth, there's no problem with being consistent because you know the truth is the truth and you're reciting the truth. So lies are a very hard thing to keep up on a constant basis. That's why, for instance, all the stories about what went on in Trump Tower with the Russians and so on keeps changing and keeps changing and keeps changing.
Even when somebody's telling the truth, one person sees something one way, another person sees something another way. They've done a lot of things where they set up a scenario and then they interview the people afterwards. It's for the police department. Yeah. And in the way that different people see the actions that led up to it and all of those things sometimes are completely different. And it's not that they're lying.
I heard a story the other day that they did a study, and it was something like a 9/11, some kind of tragedy, okay? Yeah. And then they went around interviewing people about that tragedy. And then they went back 10 years later and interviewed them once again about the tragedy. And their whole recall was different.
Right.
But that's not the problem with Trump. The fact is, Trump lies so much he can't keep up with what he was saying the last time he lied and making it consistent with the lie he's telling now. Lies are very hard. Lies are very hard to maintain. The truth is very easy to maintain. Hello, Jack Bishop.
Hello there. Hello there. I heard you talking about a friend of the president's who is currently in trouble. There was a story, and it may be the same guy. I'm not sure about this because I just caught a...
This is what, Chris Collins is his name?
It's Collins. I don't know the first name.
Yeah. I don't think it's him. But this guy is in the administration and was also involved in some shady financial dealings. But the thing that struck me, and this guy was... At one time, he claimed he was worth $2 billion. Turned out he's only worth about $700 million, but hey, who's counting?
Yeah.
One of the things that they found out when they were investigating him...
Wilbur something.
Wilbur Ross? No.
Yeah.
Wilbur Ross, he's the He's on the cabinet.
Yeah.
Well,
That's him.
anyway, one of the things they found out about him while he was being investigated, when he was involved in the investment business, he would leave the floor that his offices were on and go down to the coffee shop and steal sugar substitutes so he would have to buy them.
I do that at Starbucks.
Is that a Republican Party deal there? Is that the latest Republican Party criminal activity?
No. But once I found out that sugar substitute is bad for your diabetes, I stopped doing it and drink the coffee with just cream.
Yeah. Let me. Yeah. But I mean, all I'm saying is that lying is very difficult to maintain. I mean, we've all told lies in our time, and then if somebody asks you about that a couple of days later, you don't remember exactly the way you told the lie the first time. But the truth is easy to remember. You can remember that something happened, and then this happened, and then that happened. So all I'm saying is when you lie, it's much harder. And so that's what they're worried about with Mueller. I mean, all he's got to do is fuck up on one thing, and I mean, that's what I think they tried to get Clinton on.
Yeah, in the Richmond Police Department, the one thing that would definitely get you fired is if you lied. So I took a thing where I always told the truth, because it didn't matter what you did. As long as you didn't lie about it, they wouldn't fire you. And for instance, there was this one cop that arrested a homeless guy, and the guy had rotting food. And so instead of taking the rotting food and putting it in the trunk and then booking it into evidence, he threw it away.
Yeah.
The guy complained out on him, and when he did, they asked the cop, "Did you throw away the guy's food?" He said no. Well, it seems as though there was some videotape, and they showed him throwing away the food, and he got fired. All he had to say was, "Yeah, I threw it away. It was rotting."
Yeah. What were you showing us there, Ray?
Oh, it's an elephant.
Yeah.
I got
trunk up. No, trunk's not up. Trunk up? No.
And a little Buddha. Eh?
Uh-huh. Are they
and a mouse.
Yeah. Where'd you get those?
He stole them.
Someone gave me this.
Yeah.
I don't remember, and I got this. I don't know. I can't remember.
Yeah. It's a very nice. It's a very nice elephant.
It is. I got it somewhere in my travels that I don't remember where. And somebody else gave me this other Buddha. I don't know why people give me Buddhas. I have no idea.
What have you got there? Everybody's showing stuff.
It's like a '64 Chevrolet or something.
67.
Nova.
67 Chevy Nova. Hardtop.
Ah, really?
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I never gave a shit about cars.
I know. I saw some of the cars you drove.
No,
Yeah, really.
Wait a minute. What do you mean you saw some of the cars I drove in later
Did you
years?
see that Volkswagen he had?
I drove
Squareback.
I'm just fritzing with you.
I had a 300Z.
Didn't see that one.
I had an Acura, top of the line Acura. But I just never. Everybody would say, "Boy, that's a cool car you got, that Datsun Z." And or it wasn't called the Datsun, but the Nissan Z. And they go, "Wow, Nissan Z, that's cool." And they would give me the high sign, and I'm going, "I don't give a shit. It's just all I care about is it gets me from here to there."
So why'd you have a cool car like a 240Z?
To begin with, because I could afford it.
Uh-huh.
Secondly, I could take the top down. That was nice.
240Z's too old to lease.
280.
280Z.
This is a 300Z. This was a 300Z.
Well, yeah, but the old Datsun 240Z was 72.
Yeah.
Awesome.
What got me is when you had the convertible in Chicago.
Well, because I had it somewhere else. Where did I buy that convertible? It was a Mustang, right? It was a Mustang convertible.
Mustang. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the last times I saw you before we both disappeared. This is my alarm reminding me you got to go do a show. There, turn that off. I always wondered why anybody in a climate as cold as Chicago or New York would have a convertible. But then I started buying convertibles again in Texas, And my wife says, why does anybody have a convertible in a place that's as hot as Texas?
Well, because they're cheaper.
I'm trying to remember where I bought that convertible, though. I don't think I would have had to have either bought it in Houston or Minneapolis.
You didn't have it in Houston. You had a Mustang.
Yeah.
In Houston that you had to have air conditioning put in because we were all sweating.
Well, in those days, you always had air conditioning put in because they didn't come with the cars.
Well, Alex, I hate to correct you. But yeah, some cars did come. You know, they started
Cadillacs.
Well, no,
I don't think. For instance, there wasn't a Mustang that if you wanted air conditioning, they installed the unit, under the dash.
Now you're right. The first series Mustang did not have integral air, but integral air started going into moderately priced cars in 54, 55.
I don't think there's a car built today that doesn't have air conditioning in it, right?
Oh no, there are cars that they sell without air conditioning.
Really?
Yeah.
Depends on the country.
Depends on the area. Yeah.
Low-end cars you can still get without AC. They don't sell worth a damn.
You can get them without electric windows.
Yep.
I remember. This is me as a child. Okay, and we had like a Hudson.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and it would get hot, and we'd be driving down the highway, sometimes in the Southwest, because my father might have had a gig down there or something. And you always had to open up the wind wings, right? Roll down the windows, and then there was this thing in the front of the car that you pulled on the thing, and a vent opened up on the front, and that was supposed to cool you down. And all it was
no seat belts?
Oh, forget about seat belts. You had an accident, you just kind of like washed the blood off the dashboard and continued on your way.
No collapsible steering wheel.
And air.
No safety glass.
I not only remember no collapsible steering wheel, I remember a friend of mine who had an Oldsmobile, and it had in the middle of where the horn would normally go, right in the middle of the steering wheel, this big, sharp projectile item.
It was like plastic?
No,
clear?
It was pure metal. That was where the horn would usually be, so that if you had an accident, you got impaled on this damn thing. That's how safe cars were in those days. They didn't give a fucking shit.
My dad bought a 1-year-old Cadillac. He bought it in 55, so it had to be a 54. And it had the same thing pointed right at your chest. And for airbags, my mom used to set my little sister on her lap just in case. You know?
Well, in 1955, I wanted a Cadillac.
Dagmars.
In 1955, I wanted a Cadillac, but I couldn't afford it. But a few years ago, I lived out my dream and bought a 1955 Cadillac. So it was no problem. Joke. This is a big joke. It's a joke. Okay. If you have to say they're a joke, then they're probably not. You know.
Well, I wouldn't mind having that caddy that my dad had again.
Yeah.
After he died, when I was a teenager, I'm walking down Van Ness Avenue in San Francisco where the used car lots used to be, and there was his old car on the lot. And the reason I recognized it, it had a scratch on the fender and another scratch on the opposite side on the door. And I said, my God, that's my old man Cadillac. I haven't seen that car in 4 years.
You remember?
Well, I'll tell you something.
Van Ness, you had Ellis Brooks.
Oh, yeah. That was car Automotive Row.
Yeah.
That was you had Don Lee Cadillac.
Was that
which
it was?
And
it was George something Cadillac.
Upstairs was Don Lee's Mutual Network.
That's right.
Which was the West Coast Mutual Network. Yeah.
And I'm sure you remember Gil Heil, who sold cars for Ellis Brooks Chevrolet on TV and on radio.
But the point is that when I was a kid, when I was about 1955, when I was 15, the car that you wanted was the Thunderbird. There was just something about the Thunderbird that caught everybody's attention. Now I'm going to say this. there's the Corvette Stingray is probably one of the most coveted cars in America, and it was the Corvette was the competition to the Thunderbird. But those original two-seater Thunderbirds, man, what a sweet little car.
I even like the new. They don't make them anymore. But
by the
it was
way,
a
I hate
Thunderbird,
cars. Yeah.
a Thunderbird that they brought out in the '90s. Sam Van Zandt has one. It's a convertible, and you can bolt on the hard top. It's got the porthole.
That was the thing that was so great about the original Thunderbirds was their size. And all of a sudden, in about 1957, 58,
yeah, they grew.
They decided
was the year they went to the 4-passenger Thunderbird.
Yeah.
But the '92 is a 2-passenger.
Right. Well, let me finish what I'm saying.
It's actually a good-looking car, and it's inexpensive to buy right now.
Well, listen to what I'm trying to say. So, 1950, what year did you say that they?
55 to 57 was the 50. Yeah, 55 to 57.
The four-seater.
And the two-seater.
No, there was the two.
Year of the
four-seater.
Four-seater. When they brought out the four-seater, that was the end of the Thunderbird. That just wasn't the Thunderbird.
Oh no, it was gorgeous. That 58, 59, and 60.
For a year from Brooklyn,
was gorgeous.
For somebody from Brooklyn, that was gorgeous. That was
61 looked like a spaceship. So did 62.
No, but who cares about whether they look like spaceships? The fact was that little Thunderbird with 2 seats in it, man, was the coolest, most fun to ride in car you've ever been in your life.
I saw one the other day.
Yeah, right.
I saw one the other day, Alex, and it just caught my eye from far away.
Yeah,
beautiful car.
Yeah, they're pricing themselves out of the market now, though.
Oh yeah, it's $35,000 minimum
plus.
Yeah.
Jeff,
what for an old one or for a new one?
Old one.
The old one.
55, 56, 57.
Yeah. Yes, Jeff. Turn on your mic,
you're muted.
Jeff. Yeah. We always have to.
I would say that the 55, 56, 57 were very nice and all of that. But you guys keep calling them 2-seaters. They were really 3-seaters.
That's right.
Would it have a rumble seat?
I don't think. I think you're wrong. I think you're wrong because
wide seat.
No, I think you're wrong, and I'll tell you why.
Oh no! What he's saying was it had a bench seat.
I know the bench seat, but the Thunderbird didn't have bench seats. It had bucket seats.
The Corvette had bucket seats.
Wait a minute.
Yeah. Not till 58 did the Thunderbird have bucket seats. The Little Bird, as they're called, the 55, 56,
had
57.
A bench?
Had a bench seat, and you could squeeze
3.
But they had to be real good friends, and none of them had to be as big as Phil Meyer or myself.
Now, were they a manual shift? Because the Corvette, I think, was automatic, and nobody wanted it.
The Corvette had 2-speed power glide,
right,
and a 6-cylinder engine. The T-Bird was either
312.
No, it wasn't 312 initially. It was originally the 292. The 292 version of what was called the Y-block Ford engine.
Yeah.
And
okay,
you get a manual shift.
Okay, wait a minute. We've been joined by Kevin. Kevin, you into cars?
That's why I called in, because your YouTube failed.
What?
Oh, really?
YouTube went off the air.
Oh, no, I'm still getting it on YouTube.
That's strange, because I'm getting it here.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe mine went off.
No, it could be in certain areas it went out, because I noticed earlier tonight that it went down to a very low number. That there may have been a lot of times there are outages in various parts of the country, but not all over the country.
Yeah.
But I have a 53 Dodge pickup, so actually two of them.
Nice.
I want to disagree with Mr. Bennett.
What?
He said that the 60. Now, my mom had both a 60 T-Bird, and then when the 60.
So did my dad. A red one.
Hers was that terrible, shocking pink. And then in 61, she loved the 61 so much that she traded in her 18-month-old T-Bird for a new 61, and I thought that was the most gorgeous car.
Yeah, it looked like a rocket ship. And the bucket seats and the console, everything about it looked like the Batmobile.
By the way, look at what is that, Ray?
My dad had a 59 Chevy, a Batmobile,
Ray?
black one with the red interior.
Nice. That had the big fins.
Ray, what is that? you're showing us, or maybe he's left the room.
I think he went to the bathroom.
Oh,
that's probably some sort of tiki,
and that's probably what came out. Yeah, I just I mean, but I've never been a big car guy. I mean, I do remember I used to love once a year, like I think it was in maybe September. All the dealers would debut their new cars on one particular night, and it was a big deal to get out of the house and go down to the car dealerships to see the new models.
Yep.
Yeah.
You were over in Marin County, kid. That was
They still had horses.
Yeah.
You don't think we had cars? Where was American?
You didn't even have a bridge until 1939.
Where was American Graffiti filmed?
You were
Modesto.
Yep. No.
San Rafael.
San Rafael and Petaluma, because they kicked them out of San Rafael after the second night of shooting.
But wasn't it supposed to be about Modesto?
Yeah.
It was supposed to be about Modesto. And the quote was, "Where were you in '62?" Was it? And you know where I was in '62?
Modesto.
I was in Modesto. For all I know, the Wolfman Jack character was based on me. So.
Yeah. Well, over there in Marin County, that was never a hotbed of car culture. You had to come to the city.
It is if you want a Land Rover.
Oh, it was very much a car culture. I mean, come on, you're living in Marin County, which is what we call the country, and you don't think there were a lot of cars there? You're out of your mind, because you didn't have to worry about traffic.
Well, I only knew one kid from Marin County other than you.
Yeah.
And he was the only kid from Marin that I ever met that was into cars, because his dad owned a garage in San Francisco.
Yeah, well, I knew a lot of kids who were building hot rods and doing things like that. Hot rods, listen to me, that's aging me.
But if south of San Francisco, of San Francisco, down where I lived in Burlingame, San Mateo, down on the El Camino was the.
Well, your father owned a gas station.
Cruising the Elk.
Yeah, but Kevin, your father owned what, a gas station?
Yeah, and if you went there on any Friday night, there was at least 5 or 10 cars in there getting fixed.
Yeah.
After Dad shut the station down, Kevin had the keys, and we all went in there.
Oh, all the
kids.
racks. Yeah,
I think the reason I never had a great love of cars was
made a lot of beer that time.
My father always got like not really expensive cars. You get like Chevys and Fords and things like that,
Yep.
And his attitude was the one I just said was, all I care about is if it gets me from here to there. I don't care what it looks like or what it feels like, And so I grew up with that attitude. Boy.
A little feedback.
I grew up with that. What is all that noise? It's got to be Steve.
Steve.
It's a truck or something.
Yeah. But my father I kind of grew up with that attitude from my father.
You remember the kind of loser cars that kids' fathers had, like the Willys and some of those cars.
Well, the worst car your father could. Hey, Steve, mute yourself, Steve. Mute yourself, or I'm going to hang up on you.
Oh, okay. No, I just happened. I'm coming up by a highway. I'll mute it.
Yeah. Well, you don't ever seem to care. But anyway, what was I going to say?
The cars that weren't cool.
Oh, I'd say probably the most there were 2 uncool cars. All right.
Not the Studebaker.
The Nash.
Those were cool. Now they are.
They were cool, but not at the time.
Yeah.
And I'd say the Studebaker was not really cool.
Depended on the Studebaker. Jeff and I have talked about that. If it was a Studebaker Hawk.
Or an Avanti.
Which came later. Or even perhaps more cool, but not as recognized as being
the President.
Slow down. The 1953 to 55 Studebaker coupes, the Lowry coupes that were
those were Hawks.
Well, all I know is there was one Studebaker that looked like, when it was sitting there, like you didn't know which was the front and which was the back.
49 and 50.
Yeah.
You didn't know whether it was coming or going.
Yep.
Yeah. And the windshield in the rear window was the rear window was wrapped around in such a way that it looked like it was the front of the car.
I'm gonna mention a car that two cars that I don't know if anybody can remember them. The Henry J.
Remember? I had one. I had a 49 or a 50.
Couldn't have been that early. Kaiser didn't start making the Henry J.
I had. So it was a 4-cylinder. It was my first car. My dad bought it for $100 for me.
It had the Willys Jeep engine in them in the 4 cylinders.
And there was another car with I seem to remember it as having one headlight called the Davis.
The Kaiser. No, that's the Tucker.
You're thinking about the Tucker, but it had two plus one in the middle as well.
That moved,
That moved,
there was a Davis, but they never really got into production.
Yeah.
They built about 50, maybe up to as many 70 cars.
Well, that's about the same as the Tucker. The Tucker, they make more than 100 of them.
Did the Cunningham have a center headlight?
Cunningham.
I know it had those doors like the Kaiser.
No, I'll tell you what the subject is going to be tomorrow night: cigarettes that no longer exist.
Fatimas.
The Cavaliers.
I'm too young for this conversation.
So my favorite.
Hey, how about Terratons?
Yeah,
what?
Jeff's got.
That very few people are going to be able to get it. It's a Kaiser Davis.
Yes.
Not the Darren.
Kaiser Darren.
Yeah,
I know Kaiser Darren. Yeah.
My favorite.
Gorgeous car.
My favorite that nobody will get was the Dual Ghia.
I know the Dual Ghia. I had a Faisal Vega, which was very similar to the Dual Ghia. And I had an HK 500. Matter of fact, Alex had seen that in my garage in Sausalito, but probably doesn't remember.
I had a Carmen Ghia.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are gorgeous. Those were designed by Pina Faria.
Yeah.
No, they were designed by Ghia, which was a design house in Italy.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
But the Dual Ghia was a car. They only produced
200, I think.
No, not even that many, really. Out of 2 series, probably only about 150, 160. But they were the car of choice for Hollywood. Oh my God, I got to go do an internet show. Yeah. This has been so much fun.
You're not in radio anymore.
That's what my wife.
This is not radio any longer.
The internet.
Hey,
did you hear what I said? That's what my wife says when she looks at my GabNet paycheck. You're not in radio anymore.
Yeah,
You're not
right. Well, she's absolutely right. And I talked to her tonight, and she's a very smart woman. Because at least she can operate a computer. What?
Alex came up with Gabcoin. You may be able to get paid in that.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks to Jack Bishop for being here.
Yeah.
Thanks to Jeff for being here. We won't see Jeff for a week now. He's going to be off to
hey, if he can't sleep, when it's the time difference, you're going to wake up and at 3 in the morning, and you're going to think that it's like 8 in the morning.
Yeah.
It's called jet lag.
I love that. I read and stuff for hours and no one's around.
Ray, thank you for being here. Phil, thank you for being here. Thank you, Kevin. We always enjoy having you here. Thank you, Steve, for the noise. Scott Boddicker isn't even sitting down. I don't know if he's going to wave goodbye or anything, but we thank him.
His wife says, "What do you mean you're not moving?"
Yeah. And I would say it would be nice if all of you would be waving them a big goodbye and they can wave right back. That's our citizens panel for tonight. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, there they go. And that's it for me. Here I go. I will be back again. Let's see here. We'll be doing this again tomorrow night. But next is Jack Bishop. All right. Goodbye, Scott. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Let me see. Yeah, can I show Scott? No, I can't. Well, anyway, Scott is gone. They're all gone. They're all going away. Okay. And that's our citizens panel for tonight. And Jack Bishop is next. He's next with a nice little program called The Intersection. And then at 1 o'clock this morning, it's Connections. Tomorrow night, Damian Chaplin with The Exchange at 9:30 Eastern Daylight Time. And tomorrow night at 10, I'll be back here, same time, same station in life. And in the meantime, if you see her, tell her I love her, okay? Bye, everybody.